Well, thanks for joining us today as we take a look at Citizen Service meets Open Data, or the Socrata Service Connect application. I don't think anyone would argue that government transparency is not a new concept. In fact, many smart governments have already learned that simple fact. A good place to start, though, is really defining what exactly transparency is and why it's important. So simply put, government transparency enables citizens, journalists, and analysts to easily research and hold their government and elected officials accountable for how they spend money at all levels of government. For governments, transparency means placing things like all financial and public information online in an easy-to-use, readily available, and understandable system. These systems allow anyone to see clearly how public servants are spending tax money and give citizens the ability to hold their elected officials accountable. Despite the promise of really compelling civic and economic benefits at the macro level, many government leaders are really starting to look for more clarity on the actual return on investment, or ROI, in their open data initiatives. Agencies that are looking to start just need to get some guidance on things like planning and implementation efforts. Others which have prioritized, for example, ad hoc publishing of available data sets into kind of creating a more sustainable program over time. Still, we find other customers are looking to optimize kind of their high performance programs by cultivating a network of partners that are going to consume the data. These kinds of things are the reason that we spent the time and created the Socrata Open Data Value Framework. This framework has identified kind of 4 pillars around the open data ROI. This is citizen experience, data-driven decision-making, operational efficiency, and economic impact. If you really want more information, please take a look at the Socrata site and search on the Open Data Value Framework. Let's actually kind of hop into our Socrata Open Data application called Service Connect. So let's start looking at why this application is important. I don't think that anyone would argue that today, more than ever, citizen service call centers are expected to deliver efficacy and transparency. The use of technology has heightened citizens' demand for improved services and instant responses. When you're trying to capture this data and using it to track work, measure performance, and make strategic decisions that affect services, policies, and budgets, and this has really become the norm that we're seeing in our governmental customers. A great example of this, especially as you think about your 311 or citizen call center, citizen services data, is a 2012 15-city study by the Pew Charitable Trust Foundation that found the average cost per 311 call is approximately $3.39. In this study, Detroit came in with the highest cost per call at a whopping $7.78. But the thing to keep in mind is, for those of you listening to this, many cities handle hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of calls per year. These costs can add up pretty dramatically at $3.39 a call. So this has started to really make citizen services worth it? Well, one of the ways that you can answer that question is by taking it online. And this is where Service Connect and your citizen services data can deliver an open and important part of your open data initiative. And it's really going to provide a couple of big areas. One is it's going to encourage your citizens to go and do things on their own so that they're not going to want to call into your call center. They're going to do this using a set of visualizations that's going to make it very easy for them to find the information that they're looking for. So why don't we just take a step back, and if you're new to open data, or if you're expanding an open data program, let's take a look at why open data, especially as you're comparing it to 311 data. So today, taxpayers are more informed than ever, and many are out there kind of seeking information, and they expect it to be available very easily and for them to get at it very quickly. Their expectations are being set by the consumer technology they interact with every day. From news and shopping to travel and entertainment, they're provided with a set of rich interactive experiences that enables them to easily find information they need to make everyday decisions. And really, when they look to their public sector organizations, they expect nothing less. A great example of this is a Capgemini study in 2014, where it talks about open data and access to real-time information saved over $1 million for the city of San Francisco. So the city's chief innovation officer announced, and this is back in June 2012, that by providing access to real-time transit data, it resulted in 21.7 fewer San Francisco 311 calls. This decrease in call volume resulted in savings of over $1 million a year. So that, as you can see, is kind of a huge value to open data. And here's another one from an article published in 2014. Talks about the city of Albuquerque announced they saved hundreds of thousands of dollars due to reduction in the calls to 311. They bill at about $1.86 per call. The city estimates saving $548,000 in only 2 years since the smartphone and supporting technologies were added to their open data initiative. So what does this mean? This means that consumers are out there and they expect their governments to be as easy to interact with as their normal everyday consumer-based technology. So open data is a huge piece of that. One of the things that we've recently published is this idea of open data maturity. So this gives you the ability to self-assess where your program is. And your program could be any number in any one of these phases along the way. What I did want to point out, especially as we talk about Service Connect, is that we're targeting this level 4. So thinking about data as a platform. So this is creating consumer-style web and mobile interfaces. It's providing accessible storytelling for publishers, which we're going to talk about in a minute. So it's really kind of taking this set of data, which is this high-value open data set that's your 311 data, and providing a very easy interface for people to get to, a very easy set of APIs for developers to get at, but also the ability to tell stories. So being able to look at which neighborhoods are using 311, what's important for them. One thing you do want to keep in mind is you can kind of assess yourself along these different lines as you think about how you're building out your open data program. So let's hop a little bit deeper and take a look at the Socrata Service Connect application. When you think about consumer style interfaces, we really took a step back and we worked with our design partners and a lot of different 311 systems, and we came up with what we think is an innovative card-based dashboard that you can see here. This allows you to go ahead and show different categories, and you can use things like a time series or a donut or a comparison view to tell your story about how you're impacting your 311 data. So if, for example, potholes are important, you can show how many potholes you've filled, what services are being used and how people are interacting with them. We also tried to provide a very rich out-of-the-box experience. So as we'll see in a few minutes, this means that we have a very nice mapping interface that people can, look around their specific areas. But once you start selecting on tickets, you can drill down so you can see the details. You can even pull data, for example, graffiti, and maybe you want to show the pictures in that. You can integrate with your existing 311 system. So for example, SeeClickFix, or using the Open 311 standard, you can use that to integrate directly in. So citizens can come to the Service Connect application and actually open and close tickets based on that. And you don't have to do that, but it really does give that rich out-of-the-box experience that allows people to take advantage of the 311 data without having to call in. Next, we really focused on showing what matters the most. And hopefully, as you'll see when we look at this, this really is about finding your data easily. Whether you're using mapping, whether you're using searching, whether you're using a specific ticket number, you can actually find the data that you need and the data that impacts you and what you're concerned with. Of course, as we talked about, consumer style mobile interfaces. So being able to see your application, whether it's a mobile or whether it's a browser, Service Connect actually provides that out of the box. We are mobile responsive. So what that means is if you look at it on the browser and then you look at it on a mobile device, the application will actually shrink down and it's going to show and render properly with no additional coding or additional things needed. The other is that you can drill into neighborhood level data. And this is kind of important. So if I'm a citizen and I'm looking for what's going on in my city, but typically I'm going to be very interested in looking at neighborhood level detail and want to see what's going on around me and how my neighbors are interacting, or maybe tickets that I've called in are actually being dealt with. And last is an intuitive administrative interface. And this is something we're going to take a look at a little bit later, but it is incredibly important to understand. So one of the big things about Service Connect is that it enables citizens to interact with the data, but based on where citizens go within the application, you could start to collect that data as an administrator and actually see what's going on. So that means that I can look at what categories people are clicking on, what neighborhoods people are interested in. So it gives me the ability to kind of go beyond just kind of Google Analytics to really understand how my data is being consumed across my citizen base, right? Which is a way to enable me to understand, what things I may want to do or ways that I want to interact with my citizens to get them better and more useful information. So let's go ahead and hop over to an example application, and I'm going to use our demo site, which is actually the city of Evergreen, as a way of kind of demonstrating this. And you'll notice a couple of things. One is kind of right out of the box, I could look for a specific address, and it's going to kind of pull the geography around that. I can also look at a specific ticket. So I can enter a ticket number here, and I can go ahead and search. And you'll notice a couple of things. One is that I get this really nice looking map, which has a very nice set of borders, which as you can see is showing kind of different neighborhoods. And you can see that the ticket I entered is a residential recycling program. And when it was opened and closed, and then a description. And then I can also kind of drill down and look at kind of different areas. And then if I kind of go down further into the screen, you can see that I can get more detail on that. So I can open it up, and then I can see kind of when it was open, when it was closed. I can see kind of what location was involved. So it gives me the ability, if I've opened a ticket and gotten the ticket number, that I don't have to actually call back in, and I'm just interested in seeing what the status of my ticket is. And obviously kind of one of the big areas is that this is basically allowing us to say, that you don't have to call back in, and kind of saving that, I think it was $3.39. So the other is, if we go back to our home page here, we can also just explore. And really what this will do is it'll bring us into our main area. And as you can see, I've got my map of Evergreen, and it really is synthetic data based on a New Orleans map. But you can see that once again, I can click through kind of different areas and look at different neighborhoods. And then if I go down, you can see the set of cards that have actually been created. So for example, tree maintenance. 100% of tree maintenance tickets have been closed in the last year. So this is really giving me kind of a quick overview of things that matter. So 242 of 1,600 streetlight tickets have been closed. So that may not be good. Maybe we're looking to get a little bit higher. And of course, I can also click on View More, and this will take me into kind of additional detail that you can see here. What's really nice also is that I can go ahead and I can look at different areas. So areas are based on neighborhoods, and the neighborhoods will allow me to go ahead and drill in. So if I'm a citizen of a particular area, for example, Algiers Point, I can go ahead and select this, and then you can see I don't have any tickets open in our sample system, but I could then drill into the tickets that are there. I can also look at a time range. So maybe I want to see everything or only within the last 30, 60, 90, or 120 days. And then last, kind of where the real power is the sets of categories that people are interested in. So for example, Algiers Point may be interested in abandoned vehicle removal. And you'll notice that there's a set of tickets open, so I can kind of look at the different tickets that are here. I can get the data that's from it. I can also scroll down, and I could look at the interface that's here and see kind of what's going on. I can kind of drill into it. So as a member of this community, I'm very interested, kind of, that abandoned vehicles are probably one of the big things that we're interested in, and that it represents a higher number, or obviously residential recycling is more important. So as you can see, as the member of the community, I can kind of drill in and see what's going on. And this gives a lot of power to how citizens engage with these different areas and these different systems. The next is, I want to take a look at one of our customers, San Francisco. And as you can see, it's got the same interface, but let's actually go ahead and hop into San Francisco's data. So as you can see, we've got kind of the neighborhood map. What I wanted to look at is their cards that are here. And obviously, this is a real live system. So it has kind of data flowing into it constantly as opposed to our test system. But what you'll notice is that we've got graffiti, which is kind of a big deal for them. And we can kind of drill into graffiti if we want. And if we look at the graffiti, we can look at submitted tickets versus closed tickets, and then open versus closed tickets. So we can also kind of drill in a little bit more to submitted tickets, and you can see kind of on the map where they're actually happening. So if I wanted to, I could look at, well, this particular ticket was a graffiti on public property, private property, another one on private property that's here as well. And then if we kind of drill down, you can see how graffiti relates to everything. Graffiti in the private property relates to every other kind of tickets that's out there. And then, of course, as you're looking at what you want to do, let's go back up to our category here. And then you'll see we can kind of drill in a little bit more in different areas if we wanted. I think kind of the real power here is this really nice map that allows people to see exactly what's going on. The other thing I want to point out is that you do have the ability to bring in images. So as you can see here, ticket 12 at the intersection of Fillmore Street and Haight Street was graffiti on private property, and that you can actually see a picture of the graffiti, so that it becomes easier for people to see what's going on and kind of get a visual of the impact that's there. So this is kind of a really powerful way of bringing tickets back and providing data. And once again, we could certainly drill into kind of the areas that are out there if we wanted to see, for example, down by this particular area of the city, graffiti isn't a big deal. But we can also look at, for example, abandoned vehicles and kind of see if there are any abandoned vehicles in those areas. And as you can see, there's been 3 that have been closed. And of course, just so you fully understand, you do have access to the raw data set. So this basically allows you to go ahead and access the data set if I wanted to download the spreadsheet and be able to connect with that. And also developers can take advantage of the Socrata API to get at the data that you've published. So there's a lot of information and things that you can get as built around this. Kind of last, let's hop back into our application here. And if we hop down a little bit, let's go ahead and log in so we can take a look at kind of the administrative interface. Clearly, I mean, being able to set your own style is nice. You do have the ability to customize the front page. So as you notice, San Francisco had the beautiful picture of the bridge, and you have kind of complete control over that, as well as the colorings that are out there. Kind of the real value that I wanted to show was a couple of things. One is, if we go back to kind of view the home page, there's a couple of things we can do. We can edit the page. And as we're editing the page, you'll notice that it's very easy to create these cards. So for example, the tree maintenance card, I can click on the edit, and you'll notice that it's just a set of drop downs. So if I wanted to look at, I don't know, non-rodents complaints by open tickets and then show percentage, I can go ahead and save that and kind of see what's there. Also, it's easy for me to add new cards. So just by clicking new cards, I can go ahead and create my new card and then save what I have here. And let's show, I guess, an average or count, and then we can hit save. The thing I also want to point out is that until you hit publish, I'm the only one seeing this. So we do have that preview capability. So I can preview and I can see kind of what my cards will look like based on taking a look at them, and then if I wanted to, I can go ahead and hit publish. I'm actually going to just do undo changes because I don't want to publish these out to the people that are watching this application. So there's a lot of power, and we tried to make it as intuitive and kind of as easy as possible for people to go ahead and access the data that's actually available. The other piece I think that's super important as you think about how your application is being used is the set of analytics that I talked about before. So within the analytics, you'll notice that I could specify, for example, Airport Pines Road, and then I can look at a set of dates, and then I can look at the categories, and then you'll notice how many people visited that particular page, and this is kind of compared to other visits on the site. What's really powerful is that you can then start looking at the most visited categories that are here. So as a 311 administrator, I'm very interested in how my citizens are using this application, which neighborhoods I may have the best data for, and how am I interacting with them. So this becomes a very important way of pulling out that set of categories and being able to find out how to interact with that group. And then last is the set of neighborhood comparisons. So this allows me to kind of compare one neighborhood versus another. And obviously in this case, my Airport Pines neighborhood is the one that's actually visiting this the most. Now, what this does is it tells me as an administrator not only how people are using it, but ways that I could change my program. So kind of creating that data-driven value statement around learning how people are doing and maybe finding that the application needs to be modified or that the dashboards or the scorecards that you're showing don't adequately match what people want. So the analytics, I think, is a huge piece of the puzzle and how people think about using this application. And as an administrator, this would be one of the huge ROI points for me, right? So not only can I go ahead and reduce people calling into my call center, but it also allows me to get real life information about how people are using this beyond Google Analytics, right, which I'm sure everyone's running, but it'll give me the ability to directly compare these things and see kind of which pieces are going on. So let's go ahead and hop back in to our, and last, so I think a couple of things I want to point out as we start to wind down a little bit is some of the key benefits that I hope you've seen through this. One is that Socrata Service Connect really is about visualization. It's about taking a set of high value open data in a 311 data set, visualizing this, allowing people to drill into categories, being able to look at this intuitive card-based dashboard, being able to allow citizens to showcase their service priorities using these visualizations. The other big thing is that you can access what people are doing, being able to see who's visiting what pages, what neighborhoods, are a huge value about how people are accessing your 311 data and your Service Connect application. So two big things to take away. One is that Socrata Service Connect helps you reduce and provides valuable ROI because it's reducing the number of calls you receive, because hopefully people are going to the website as opposed to calling in. But second, it also provides valuable information about your program, which you can use to make demand-driven decisions based on the way people are interacting with your application. So if you're not familiar with Socrata, I just want to spend a few minutes talking about us. So Socrata, we are a Seattle-based software as a service provider. We are founded in 2007, and we've really focused on open data. And when we think about open data, we've built a set of solutions around that. And we not only encompass the applications that we publish, which as of today are financial transparency suite of applications, our Service Connect, which you see here, and they're all available on our Open Data Apps Marketplace, which includes a lot of third-party applications, 311 vendors, for example, like SeeClickFix. We also publish an open data application that allows governments like Chicago and New York to publish their open data and, as you can see, access this data through the data access layer and allow developers and enable developers to go ahead and pull that data. And last but certainly not least is our open performance application, which is a very high performance dashboard for data-driven government. What I wanted to do was thank you for coming today, and I really would hope that if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us at support@socrata.com. And as always, we'd love to talk with you further. Thank you.